Christina Merkley here for another one of the recorded sessions, and Lindsay is joining me, who I have the pleasure of knowing to some extent through one of my trainings. So welcome. We've had a bit of a preamble, just kind of reconnecting and finding out how COVID's impacting both of us. And we're both Canadians, so, and let's find our way. You've signed up for this. I know you're a coach and you've been watching, or interested more and more in coaching, and you've been watching what I'm doing in the YouTube channel with the various things I'm doing. And lots of people find their way here from that. The left brain is like, ooh, what's going on? And we just had a conversation about the technology and stuff I'm using. So that I know that's part of it, but there's got to be another part too. You're here to do your own processing and inner work. So give me a little bit about what's up, and then we'll find our way.
Yeah, I guess I'm, in the shortest way possible, I'm feeling stuck professionally. And part of that is, so I've been in the same position functionally for the last 6 years. Of course, I had 2 kids there, so there was a couple of years off in between. But I've been doing this engagement and consultation in the utilities field for the better part of 9 years. And I'm feeling like it's the same sort of engagement, same sort of facilitation all the time. There isn't a lot of room to grow as a facilitator and to try new things. Mm-hmm. That said, I'm also very grateful to be gainfully employed, especially I have the privilege of having a part-time professional gig, which allows me to spend time with my family. So I guess what I'm looking for is I'd like to figure out, I don't want to make any huge shifts in what I'm doing necessarily right now, but I'm feeling adrift without a purpose. And I would like to figure out where I'm headed, where I want to be, so that I can start putting things in place to get to that spot. Like if I know where I'm headed professionally, then I can start to figure out what skills I need, what experience I need, what contacts, what tools I need to get to that point, and just start moving somewhere.
Okay, so kind of like you're wanting that goal, you know, once you have that vision, then okay, tactical, right? You help other people do this, so you can build a plan and get yourself there.
Yeah, and I do, because I'm working part-time, I'm working 0.6, so I do have some extra time in the day that I can use to start doing things on the side, whether it's reading or, volunteer stuff. And just to build up that expertise in that community if I want to move into something else. It's just hard to envision what that something else is.
Okay. Well, there's kind of 2 different ways, and I'm doing a lot of this, and if you've been watching some of the YouTube, you'll see it. And the reason why is it just because of how things are so up for people. I'll share my screen in a sec here. We could do inquiry. We could do future self. Future self would be an obvious one, because that's going to get you out into the future and see what's there. I'm kind of leaning more there. But I also just feel like even in our initial conversation, I just feel emotions, right? I feel pressure, frustration even, a little bit anger. Those would be my words. Like there's just there's that there, right? So I kind of want to take that steam off, like little valve, like zzz, so then we can kind of come down into the nervous system in a different way. So maybe a little bit of inquiry, seeing what happens. There might be a place, inquiry will take you there, or there'll be a natural segue to go into the visioning stuff. But I don't want to hit that first, because I can just feel this other stuff that probably we need to attend to first. Yeah. Okay, so that's what my proposal would be, should you care to take it, is let's do a little bit of inquiry, and then we'll see where we're at with that, with visioning after that. Okay. Good. Alrighty, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to bring up, actually I don't need to bring up a template to start with, because I just do inquiry right now from freeform paper. And you should be seeing the sketchbook screen, which we were talking about before we went on recording. Okay, so, and I just did a couple little notes there. Drift without a purpose, part-time, build it on the side. So that's kind of our little preamble here. So I'm just gonna bucket that. And with inquiry, all you do is be here now, right? So just take a couple of deep breaths. Oh, that's nice. I'll do it too. And then you're just, and you can do this eyes open, eyes closed, whatever. Just know I'm taking notes. So if you do it eyes closed, they'll all be there for you. And eventually there'll be a recording if you want to go back and revisit and just talking to your left brain that wants to know how everything is getting done. It's okay, left brain. There's going to be a recording. You can watch it later and just take it all apart from the process point of view. Now Lindsay gets to be human being having feelings. Yes. So as you settle in, just notice what comes up. It's okay if it's the thought and the brain and the intellectual stuff, or it might be the body, or it might be an emotion. It could be anything, just as you kind of come into yourself. What's the first thing that kind of emerges?
Oh, a bit of self-consciousness, Christina.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
let's just stop. Let's just stop there. Let's just meet that. So we're just going to meet the self-consciousness. And again, it's just super generous because it's going to be self-conscious even if it was you and me, right? Yeah. But the fact that we're recording it, it adds another dynamic. So the whole thing with inquiry is we just meet what's here. And so one of the magic sentences is, you are welcome here. So however you do it, self-consciousness, you just met it. So you're going to like feel it or sense it in a certain way. You're going to have a relationship to self-consciousness. So it's like somewhere out or in you. And so there's you there, you'll find you in there too. You are going to just kind of like recognize self-consciousness, like, hello, hi there. And you're welcome here. Just tell self-consciousness, it's okay. Like, you're right. It's a weird thing to be doing. So we don't necessarily like it so much. So, you know, that's okay. You're right. We don't like it so much. It's not so pleasant to be self-conscious. My own nervous system calibrates to that one. And just see what happens as you do that, as you just let it be and you basically agree with it.
yeah, and I guess the other thing is just uncertainty. I don't like things that are uncertain.
Okay, fair enough.
And I mean, I think that's most of the world is struggling with that right now.
It's a big one for sure. So
things in control.
Yeah, and good, uncertainty and control.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to do this for you, and I'm a big proponent when we do our inner work. We're all connected, so this helps everybody. And so just like you said, a lot of people are impacted right now with uncertainty. So we're both going to do just a little bow. You'll find it in your own system. I'll find it in mine, right? Oh, there's uncertainty. So yes, there's uncertainty. You're right. And also again, you're right. We don't like it. And that's individually, but it's also like, you're right. Like, this is a big, massive thing for the human species, right? It's not just an individual thing. It's like uncertainty in human beings have a long history, right? So this is acknowledgement, right? We just want to give that respect and acknowledgement. One way to do that is like bowing to it. If it feels weird to bow, find something else, right? But you just want to like really take it in. That's a big thing, uncertainty. Mm-hmm. It's really big. It's big for the individual, and it's when you put all us individuals together and we're all up against uncertainty, that's massive. Oh, so uncertainty, you're welcome here. You're here. We're kind of uneasy. We don't like it so much, but you're here. Mm. And this is a hard thing. This control business is really tough for me individually and for human species at large. And just see as you settle into that, what happens.
My automatic response is to say, okay, I can't control all these things, but there are things I can control, so I should shift my focus there.
Okay.
But I'm not totally certain that that's, yeah, maybe it's the impulse to control that needs to be changed, not controlling things in general, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. And there's like boom, 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 bunch just happened. So we're just going to take it in the way it came. My guess is this is mind. So I'm going to call it that for now, and we'll see, right? These are states of consciousness. So you've got a state in here. This is not supposed to be exactly representing you, not super attractive, but anyway, okay. So mind, right? So mind's like, oh, okay, well, let me get into the things I can control. And in a little way, it can kind of feel like the checklist coming out, right? And the action plan and stuff like you opened up with. I'm not making that wrong. And we're just going to go, oh, hello, part of me that in the face of uncertainty wants to, okay, let's forget about the things we can't focus on and let's focus on the ones that we can. That's a great coping mechanism, right? So we're going to go like, thank you, mind, who instantly wants to jump into the telling of stuff and trying to figure out the things you can. Just thank it. It's in service of you. Thank goodness you have that part of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. You're right. You're not, there's other parts of Lindsay's consciousness and parts of consciousness for human beings at large, but this is an important one. Just so, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the flip side of that is also a bit of relief too. And then and then that relief is tinged with guilt too, right? Like the idea of feeling like, well, we were talking about this a bit earlier as an introvert, just feeling like, you know, some of those things that I used to do that I didn't necessarily know that I didn't want to be doing them, but it's nice to have those evaporate. But then there's also a bit of guilt to think that it took a global pandemic for me to realize that my social life was a bit overwhelming. You know?
Yep.
and yeah, guilt to think of experiencing that relief and that gratitude.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. So this is excellent. So this all happens in layers. Often think of it like you know, those desserts that have layers of like cake and cream and stuff, right? Like, in those parfait glasses, right? So it's like layer after layer. So as you acknowledge the aspect, the part of your consciousness that's really good at, okay, give me the things I can control, right? And we acknowledged it because it is a valid part. Then what came out the next layer was this relief and guilt, right? And so that's what we're going to meet now, is we're going to just agree like, hello, relief, and quick on its heels, guilt, right? So the relief is the nice to have things evaporate, and the gratitude, right? Around easing of social requirements or something, or obligations, that's the right word. Yeah. Okay. So this is very important. We're going to agree with both of them. So nice to have things evaporate. You're right. That part that's saying that, just agree with it. Very wise. You're right. It is. And the gratitude, like, you're right. We're an introvert. You're right. We actually like cocooning. We like this not having to go out and about so much. So before the guilt shows up, just agree with the relief. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, relief. So many people were just so busy, right? We're just go, 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 go. The whole world got a pause, and many of us have relief from that pause. And many of us, right on the heels of it, have the guilt. So we go there next. Hello, guilt. You're welcome here. Don't rush it, just face the guilt. There's guilt there. You never got into what the guilt was about, but guilt, you are welcome here.
And I think there's awareness just of all the systems that impact me, like grind culture and capitalism and systemic racism and patriarchy and all these things that didn't really have space to think about and name in the same way before, and now we do.
There's a beautiful list, so let me get them all down. I didn't get them, so hopefully you'll be able to re-summon them. So systems showed up, all the systems, and I think there was economy, and then it went patriarchy, and then white.
Oh yeah, white supremacy, grind culture. I guess they're all the same, but capitalism.
Okay. Did you call? That's a new one for me. Grind. Was that it?
Yeah, grind culture. It's the go, go, go type. I mean, it's an extension of capitalism.
That's a great term. I haven't heard that one yet. I've been hearing a lot. Okay, so systems, awareness around systems.
It's just these things that have always impacted me, but I've never had the space to think about them and the space to name them and the space to just look at how they influence how I see the world and the things I hold to be true. And I guess COVID gave me that. So there's some more gratitude.
Yeah, exactly. Now time to ponder. Yeah. So back to that. Oh, you're right. You're right. Here's another, look at all of this. I didn't have it. So grind culture focused, go, 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 that now I've got some breathing room, as do so many of us in the world, right? That what's now emerging is contemplation, understandably, about economy, patriarchy, white supremacy, capitalism, grind culture. Agree with it. You're so right. Yes, yes, yes. And the gratitude around individually being able to see this, and I'm guessing also, collectively, that these things are arising. Just a deep bow to that. That's massive too. Really, really big. And just see what unfolds from here. You're right. All this stuff to ponder and see and figure out.
Yeah, and how do you navigate that? There's just so much, and how do you separate all the things, all the memos you've been given, all the things you've been told from what you actually hold to be true? Like, how do you separate your own imagination from your indoctrination? I don't know how that. Yeah. Okay, so I guess questions are, yeah.
So how do we navigate, and how do we separate our own indoctrination from what's true? Our own
imagination from our indoctrination.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't get it.
Like just our own sense of, it's what we believe shapes our reality. And so how do you know?
Yep.
How do you untangle what you believe from all the systems that have taught you that that's what's true and what's right?
Okay. I think we got mind there again. So we're just going to bow. Hello, mind. Mind's all the way along going to be popping and dovetailing in here, which is awesome because it's wrestling with this, pondering it and wrestling. And then it comes out with how do we navigate, right? Back to the doing. Another is doing and being, right? These big dualities. So the mind and the doings, how do we navigate?
Yeah.
How do we work this imagination from indoctrination? How do we deal with the beliefs? How to unentangle?
Mm-hmm.
Just agree with it. Yes, yes, yes. You're so right. So wise. Good questions.
It's also quite funny, or I don't know if funny is the right word, but there's a bit of humor here just because I thought that we were going to talk about my career. And then emotional stuff, which is just
we
great.
may get around to it. We'll see where your inquiry goes. That may be your career. We'll see, right? It's most people's careers right now, having to figure this out. Okay, so now we go to humor. And I thought this was about career. So let's just meet the humor. Right. And yeah, I thought it was going to be this thing, but no, it's actually, you know, got some more to this, a little deeper. And that's okay. And actually, it's kind of funny. And just agree with it. You're right. You're right. This is kind of funny.
Great.
And just see what happens as you meet it and you agree with it. And see where you go next. This wise wisdom that's flowing through you, this consciousness.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, just acceptance. Like, yeah, these are all the things going on in my head.
Yeah. You lowered too, you kind of settled more into the body, right? You're like, oh yeah, those are the things going in my head. And when you went to acceptance, that's beautiful. It just really shifted and lowered into the body on you. Yay. So acceptance, you are welcome here. You're right. You're right. Good job. Just meet acceptance. And just notice where it goes from here on you.
Yeah, I'm interested in the process. The process is fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
So back into my mind there.
Yeah, that's mine. That's okay. Well, you're right. You're right. This is a fascinating process, mind. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's very normal to go back and forth. So this is what we're doing. This is a fascinating process. So mind and body is starting to show up, left and right brain, masculine, feminine, right? Different ways to look at the duality and sides of ourselves. So this is a fascinating process. You're right, mind. And then just see what happens.
Curious, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Curiosity. Curiosity, you are welcome here. Yes, yes, yes. That lovely quality that human beings have. It's emerging in you. Hello, curiosity.
Well, now I'm thinking about bees.
Now you're thinking what?
Oh, bees that look like a hive or a honeycomb.
Oh, I'm trying to draw the thing on your wall behind there.
Oh, yeah, which is actually like I started and never finished, so it's probably deeply symbolic.
Yeah.
Things I start and then don't follow through on. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with that because your mind, that's a snag. Your mind I got snagged by it, and then you got snagged by me being snagged by it. So, and so we're going to trust that. So, things I don't finish. And then, hello, bee comb. So we said like a honeycomb?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah.
I was thinking like hives and collectivity.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. Because that's
I didn't realize it was on my wall. So
but it's so on, but it's still so on point, right? Because it's what we've been talking about. Wow, Rwanda's calling me.
The whole country.
That's an interesting, that's,
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that's an interesting one that probably on auto dial to a lot of different people. Okay. But let's go here. Let's meet. There's a lot just unfolded there. So that things I don't finish. So mine's, you know, mine, the critic, the whatever is like, oh yeah, well, you didn't finish that, sucker. Yeah. Right? Like it's all like, okay, mind, you're right, thanks. Right? Like it's like appreciating mind and its ability to analyze. Unfortunately, can get into criticism too, a little in there. So you're right, mind, I didn't finish it. That's cool anyway. And then the metaphor, right? So that the overlay that happened around, ooh, bee comb, honeycomb, hive mind, collectivity.
Yeah, and just connection, I guess. Like we're all
yes.
Real and connected in our feelings about how it's all unfolding and uncertainty and all those things.
Yep.
And frustration.
Yep.
Grief. Anger.
Yep. Exactly. Frustration, grief, anger. So welcome that. That's one layer of we're all connected, and the layer of frustration, grief, and anger, that ways that we connect off of that vibration and those human feelings. You're right. We are all connected through frustration, grief, and anger. Especially right now as we sit in the stew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said in that day too, that messy part of the hero's journey where you don't know what's coming next.
Whoa, just got goosebumps, yes. Hello, messy part of hero's journey. Don't know what's next. And again, just as levels, right? You have it at the individual level. I have it at the individual level. And then the collective, the hive, this all happening at once. We don't know what's next. Just agree with it. Yes, there is a messy part of the hero's journey. You're right. And we don't like it. And we don't know what's next. You're right.
But this is the part where the growth happens too.
Good. That's the next thing that unfolds. So wise. Yes. This is where the growth happens. So bow to that deep wisdom there. Even give it something. Give it flowers or a kiss or something. Seriously, see whatever feels to you. It's like, whoa, you're right. This is where the growth happens. Or maybe it's like, no, because growth is hard. So,
that's great. Growth is important.
Yeah. See, okay, good. That's good. So it's important.
Change is good.
Okay, good. Change is good. Good. So now we're getting the flip side. Good. Yes. You're right. It is important, and change is good. Out of messiness comes growth.
And it's an opportunity for, I don't know. Some days I'm like, this is an opportunity for systemic change, and we can choose what we want for future. And other days I'm dubious that would ever happen.
Okay, good. So that's a polarity. So we're going to welcome both sides of it. So the first is the opportunity for systemic change. And then the follow-up right on its heels was doubt that it'll happen. Yeah. So let's take the first one, which is the opportunity. This is potentially this opportunity for systemic change. Yes, please. You're right. And on the flip of it is the doubt that it'll happen. Meet it. We don't necessarily like it, but you're right. There's probably also a yearning in there. Mm-hmm. And there's deep, there's love behind the yearning, right? So just that heart, that love, that yearning for resolution or goodness or something. Meet that big love. Mm. But, you care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Let's go deeper. That as you meet it there, just see where it is. It resides somewhere, but it's a little contracted, right? The doubt's kind of bigger, but that big love is underneath there. I'm going to invite you to dive down, kind of root into that. Go find where it is. And you can even give permission. Consciousness gets impacted, right? And so big love is down there, but it's kind of a little crunched in or down or something. And it might have forgotten that it can actually expand. It doesn't have to stay where it is. So maybe do a little psst to it and say, hey, do you want to expand? You don't have to stay down there or crunched in there. Give it an invitation. It's invited to expand if it would like to. See how it responds. Would it like to?
Yeah.
Okay, so just allow it. Just go right ahead and see what happens. I don't know where it is in you, but you'll know. And so let me know what's happening. How does it expand? Does it stand up? Does it go to the side? Does it do a 360 expansion? What does it want to do? It has intelligence, right? It just has it knows how to expand. It's just kind of forgotten, like, oh yeah, I forgot. I got all down here in the human experience, all contracted, and I forgot I didn't have to stay here.
Yeah, and it's, it's sort of like, I don't know what the right words are, but it grows, but it's tentative.
Okay, good. So tentative growth. Sure, so you're welcome here. Of course it's normal to be a little tentative. So just tell it's okay, you're safe.
It's risky, Christina.
Okay, yeah. So risky comes up.
That vulnerability is like not something that we
do.
do.
Okay, good. So just be really soft and gentle with it. And it's like, you're right. You haven't done this for a while. It's risky, it's vulnerable. Take your time. There's no rush. Mm-hmm. And again, you're safe. It's okay. You're safe. It may think it's quite small, right? So as you invite it to expand, it may actually get a sense of its strength, right? It's like that vulnerability, once it expands and it gets bigger, you could actually invite it to grow beyond the risk. Like go keep going, get bigger and bigger, go bigger beyond the risk, bigger beyond that vulnerability. Just invite it to explore that. If it wants to come back down, it can, but it might be neat for it to just go and go up and big. More of this, right? Like the woo, oh, that's a different feeling. To see what's going on. That's my guess about what's going on, or I'm just
it's hard to
throwing things out to give it ideas and give you ideas, but see if it might go, ooh, I like that. Or it might be like, ooh, it might have a yeah, but. So whatever happens, just let me know. None of it's wrong.
Yeah, there's still a yeah, but.
Okay, what's the yeah, but?
It's just, there's just, I think it goes back to the lack of control. Like, it's not in control. It's not its own thing. All these other, the environment has such an impact on it, and the environment is made up of all those systems. And
Okay.
so, yes,
Okay.
I do care. I care because I love the world and I love my children, and I want them to experience the world as I have experienced it, with some, minor systemic change. But there's this cynicism too that is just, yeah.
So mind just popped up. So we just want to thank mind. You're right, mind. You're right. Like mind's going, what do you mean? Like, I can't control these things. And there's these systems, which I've already identified here. And it's like, you're right, mind.
Mm-hmm.
But mind, we're talking to big love. We're not talking to you at the moment. So we agree, and you're not going anywhere, mind. But mind, just hang on, and let's give big love an opportunity and just see big love. Try expanding. It's all an exploration. It's just an invitation, but try expanding. You're already doing that tentative growth. The invitation is to go bigger than the systems, go bigger than those environmental factors, go big. And see what happens when you go big. Mind's gonna squawk a bit because this is uncomfortable for mind, understandably mind. I'm not making you wrong. We're glad you exist. You do your thing on planet Earth, but this is a different thing that's happening here with big love, opening up and actually going beyond those human systems.
Yeah, and I guess it moves to that yearning and the hope and the ideas for change, I guess, ideas for
Good. Yeah.
for good
Hope
things.
and good things. Yes to hope. Yes to good things. Keep expanding.
Yeah, and like maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe there is maybe all of us has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I don't need to know what that purpose is.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just take those layers. They're very important layers that all just tumbled out so beautifully. So yes to hope and good things. And then, boy, it's like, wow, what do you know? Maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel here. And maybe there is purpose, and maybe it is okay to not know, right? For the mind, not to be a mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How wise. How wise. Mind's like, what do you mean? I must know. But this other aspect of consciousness is talking. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's okay. It's like, what about reasons? You're right, mind. You like reasons. Very uncomfortable. I get it, mind. Very uncomfortable. This is not your usual terrain. But this other aspect of consciousness is it expands, it's as big love, instead of being contracted, goes bigger and bigger and bigger. What emerges, but that hope and those good things and the light and purpose, and also the wisdom of, I don't have to know, I don't have to cram it into mind. There are other things besides mind, right? So left brain, right brain, the right brain, innate, non-local intelligence, there's a great guy, I'm going to write it here because this will be homework for you if you care to take it. Ian, I think it's McGilchrist, if I have it right. I posted on my Facebook page. There's a Buddha at the gas pump is just a great, Buddha at the gas pump is a YouTube channel. This man, Rick Archer, and he's does all these wonderful interviews. He's got like, I don't know, 500 plus of them now with people in their awakening process, and each person's awakening process is unique. And we're en masse going through an awakening process, yourself included, myself included, right? So he has written this book, the Emissary and the Master or something, but it's all about the left and right brain, which is what's happening here. And so much of my work is about with the visuals and everything, right? So left brain is mind. And we've seen this, your beautiful mind popping up all over here. And we've also seen the other side of you popping up all over here with its wisdom. Now, mind serves this wisdom, our conscious, another way to think of it is your conscious mind. It's only a certain, and I'm not good at you can watch his stuff about the percentages and numbers, but it's minuscule, the amount that our conscious minds actually retain. The unconscious mind has got everything else. So the unconscious mind is uber wise compared to our conscious mind because it's tapped into everything. And it's a translation problem, right? And this one doesn't talk in words, so these impulses that you're getting in these metaphors, like the metaphor of the light in the tunnel, right? Like that's ways that this non-local intelligence, a bigger connection to everything, can kind of communicate over to the conscious mind. Mm-hmm. So ideally, as McGilchrist's work talks about, that the mind's the servant, the mind serves, the left brain serves the right. So the masculine serves the feminine. And that's kind of the problem we have in the world, because we've run away with the no offense to men, because this isn't a male thing. This is human beings all have masculine and feminine principle, and our Western society is very left brain driven, right? The materialistic and matter and science and all those things, tech. But we're much more than that. And that's exactly what we're wrestling with in our world. And things have got out of order, and the proper order is it to serve the larger intelligence, right? The wisdom, the human aspect of us. So that's just a little diatribe that came out there. But I'm speaking that mind of yours too, and it will like this, because it's a great book. There's a interview that you can watch that's quite recent, and he's done a really nice job of explaining these concepts. And I can just feel that your mind's going to be like, oh, good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's my job. I can organize, because we want the minds to organize, right? But they're the servant. They're the administrator. They're the bureaucrat in a way, right? The real boss is over there. And that's where, the environment, serving the environment and serving humanity and human beings at large, right? That's where that lies, in that collective connection. And how we are all connected is through that right brain aspect of ourselves. And together, we're coming into holistic, whole human beings here, and a whole individuals and the society. Like, this is the transformation is coming to this kind of, just like we do in the GRGF work, right? With the words and logic, and then the emotion and the drawing and all that. Together, they create a whole. So we're going through this individually, and we're going through it en masse. And part of the way of getting us there is COVID. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense. I keep having this image of a plant growing, and the part underneath the ground that we don't see is quite messy, and the seed exploding, and
good. Yeah.
And the seed probably has no idea what it's headed for.
Ooh, beautiful. There again, the right brain's giving you a beautiful, beautiful metaphor. Yeah. No idea where it's headed for. So here's where we are. We're down underneath here in that dark, fertile place. And there's a seed that's already started its process of growing, and it hasn't quite bust through yet, but there's a sun out there.
Mm-hmm. And leaves and flowers and all the things, right?
Yay. That's look at what your right brain's reassuring, because it has the bigger picture, right? So left brain's only got this stuff down here, right? But it doesn't have the bigger picture. And so here's your beautiful right brain, reassuring you, me, and anybody watching this. You know, there's flowers, people. There's
Yeah.
a sun. There's plants and leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bees and birds and the butterflies.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. And butterflies being such the symbol of transformation. Beautiful. So bow to that. Yes, please. How wise you are, how reassuring you are, right? Because that's your right brain that's tapped into all of everything is communicating. It's reassuring. It's giving you symbology. This is the language. It's communicating through the imagery. And what a beautiful thing it's communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And just feel what that does to the nervous system. It's okay if the mind squawks and it has its yabbas. That's okay. That's another layer. Or we may have got to something where there's a balance starting to happen. Just see what's happening.
It's calming, right? To see it, even just to see it drawn out in front of me is calming.
Yes, please. Yes, please to calming. Yes, yes, yes. Good idea. We like that.
Yeah, inspiring and
Good.
maybe that's purpose in and of itself.
Ooh, there we go. Purpose in and of itself. Yes, please. How wise. Okay, I think we might have got there. Let's just see. See where you go. Since you did at the beginning, I might.
Yeah, and now honestly,
we might go somewhere else. But
no, my
but
questions now are about the vertical lines and your pen. And so now I'm like thinking about the technical aspects of this.
Okay, we can go there.
Yeah.
So
no, we don't need to.
We will after. But it's like I think I'm checking to see how you are. Did that? You came in with questions about career, and the future. I was thinking future self. I'm just checking. Did this get it? Or where do you go now?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me just sort of accept where I'm at, I guess.
Okay, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, you're here. You're underneath. It hasn't quite popped out, but it will. And so in front of you is the popping through the crust of the earth into that warmth and sun and joining other flowers and plants and part of that picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, mind. As that process continues, things will become apparent. Which kind of plant am I?
Yeah.
Which kind of flower am I? Where am I growing? Yeah. So this is, what a beautiful way, right? We could go the other route, but the instinct was to do this. It's a different way to approach those kinds of uncertainty dilemmas about the career and about the unfoldment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And frankly, I think you get a better, more nervous system satisfying answer and a more mature answer, right? Like in the bigger sense of how to be in the world and what we are all trying to come to terms with.
Just continue on, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, good. Yeah, it's in process. It's in play here.
Mm-hmm.
The seed is, enjoy the ride. Yes, the seed is sprouting. That's a natural process. Natural organic process at play already. Enjoy the ride. See how it grows. See how it pops out. See what it is. And something larger is in control of it. We're not.
Mm-hmm.
Natural consciousness is. And that can be trusted. We're safe. That, we can be, that's larger wisdom. It's in its hands and it's on it.
Yeah, whatever it is,
Yeah, to each person to language that for themselves. Yeah, but we
Yeah,
can
exactly.
certainly feel it here.
Hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really interesting and calming. Very
Good,
calming.
good, good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, and just an invitation to that big love as it continues to expand, because this is what that's showing. It's just like keep on going,
Yeah.
go for it, expand. You know, the mind may pop occasionally and go like, "What's happening?" or "I need a plan," right? But as it's expanding, it'll become apparent, and it'll kind of shoot down with plans like, okay, boss, I got it. Here's my, I can organize around that, right?
Yeah.
So this connection between the two, it's like as that continues to expand in you and by connection through all of us, because we're all going through something similar, right? That it'll drop, the instructions will drop, that the left brain's there to catch them and to organize them into plans and to implement and do, right? Like it's good at that. So now there's this partnership. Okay, continue to expand and drop those down when the timing's right. And left
Mm.
brain will actionize on them. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, let's complete here. And I'll turn off the recording and I'll answer your tech questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, if you want, I'll just keep it on because there might be some other people who want those tech questions answered. So we can do that if you want.
Yeah, they were mainly, I can, on my end, I see your cursor. I don't,
Yep.
like, are you using a pen or your
Oh
fingers or
yeah,
how are you doing that?
I'm using a stylus. So
Okay.
yeah, it's like a digital pen that comes with the Cintiq. And it's, you can also buy specialized ones too, but the ones that come with it are just been fine for me. So yeah, I haven't turned this on and off too much, but I do have a controller that comes, control panel that comes with the Cintiq, and you can program that with the different commands that you use over and over again. So for example, I can make that disappear. I don't use it too much, right? So I can bring
Oh,
my
I see. Yeah.
little commands and make them go away so it's a little cleaner view. There's all sorts of things you can program in there. That happens to be one of them. You also have, and the shift into digital work kit goes into this in excruciating detail.
Okay.
Lisa, my colleague, is excellent, and Karen, my other colleague, the three of us came together on this. Lisa's the technician, so she's uber good at all the tech stuff. Karen is another Canadian. She's in Vancouver and she's an animation director. So she's been drawing and directing and, you know, in a field where everybody uses this stuff, right? So she did my cartoon and storybook course.
Oh,
Storyboard. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Karen's in there. And so we explain how to build out your own unique pen set here, which is what I have over here, whatever kind of, I have different you know, they
okay.
mimic, you went through my fundamentals in person. This
Yeah.
mimics your kit bag, right? So you can, this is like a regular marker. This is like a Newland's big one, right? Or you can go
Yeah.
really big. There's all different kinds of sizes you can build in with different features depending on what your work is and what you like. So I have my own
Mm-hmm.
set. Lisa has hers. Karen has hers. So we help the people build out your own one that works for you and what you want. And then same thing with your color palette. I do a lot of different things. So up here at the top left are my primary colors. So just like I taught you in fundamentals with the GRGF work, you can think of those like your charter pack of
Yeah.
markers, right? Which were my favorite analog ones for basic writing. Then you've got all your highlighters. So what I use, the Neuland markers, like the big ones and
Oh,
stuff for
sure.
getting a big color swath, or like your pastel pack, right? So these are coloring. I don't necessarily write content in them, but I color things with them. So if I'm to go in here right now, I'll do a little bit of color. Oops, get my correct one here. In fact, I'm going to take that off your head. I was. That's
So you have this, like you've built this out. So those are the swatches that you use on a regular basis.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you have to do, is you build it to make it work for what you want. And, you know, I do multiple things. I do coaching, facilitation. I do a little bit of infographic kind of work. So, so I have like skin tones here, pastels, important colors, like I taught you guys in GRGF, right? Your reds and yellows and oranges, right? For importance and pizzazz, and then your basic ones here and some grays and stuff. So I keep it pretty basic. And then what I'm using is layers. So you're working in layers. So I put the content, all the writing and stuff is on the first layer. And now what I'm starting to move into is the coloring layer.
Oh, I see. So you could change that or take it off, or if you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like underneath. When we work with analog, you can't put your pastel right on top when we work in the real world, right? But here we can tuck the pastel underneath. So then the marker's up on top, pastel is underneath, right? And so the marker line's nice and sharp on top. And, you know, when you start, it's normal to screw up your layers. I do it all the time. But you can add things like add a layer and move things around, and yeah, it's fun. The undo button becomes like the graphic recording world is never going to recover from being online because of the undo button.
Oh yeah, the control bed. Yeah. Yeah, because you can't do that. I mean,
in real life, no, we don't have an undo button. So a lot of us are going to get too addicted to our undo buttons when we go to work live again. But
yeah,
we still have stickies, so that's okay. Yeah, so that gives you a little bit about what's happening there.
And then the two lines down the middle, is that like?
Well, what I did there was I kind of, if you remember with your different formats. So I built it, I'll just make these a little stronger. I did it list format.
Okay.
So for you to be able to follow it, this is one column and it goes from the top to the bottom, and it kind of cascaded a little out over here. And then I went up here again and I did the next column and the content ran down that way. And then I did the third column and the content ran down that way. As I'm more and more, I'm doing inquiry work with people, and it's been emergent. So most of them I've been just doing kind of left to right, doing a scatter technique because it goes across, and that's a little messy, and this is too. So I'm just experimenting with different ways. It's very organic inquiry, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen, and so it's very flowy. So I'm just trying different ways of organizing. I haven't created a template yet for inquiry. I don't know if I can create a template for inquiry, frankly, beyond just a frame. And then whatever happens inside of it happens. So yeah, so that was me just trying to organize it a little bit, and I chose that particular format.
And would you do this for groups as well, or just for individuals?
Well, it's going to be tricky, this particular process, but usually what happens for inquiry is that it's done in groups, but it's usually people process consecutively. So one person goes and their thing happens, and then another person goes. And sometimes usually a theme, not usually, but sometimes a theme. So if I'm doing it with inquiry with a group, or, you know, inquiry is a huge thing, and there's a lot of people and practices that use inquiry in different ways, but usually they'll come together in a satsang online, and it'll be emergent. So, and it's really cool because it just like with the person, it's emergent, trust the process. So who goes first, who goes second, who goes third, what were the particular focuses, right? It's different, you and like other people are showing up here and I'm doing inquiry. I invited you to kind of settle into your system, and what was the first thing that emerged? And the first thing that emerged for you was self-consciousness. Then we were off and running, right? And then we worked with it. So it's different. Each person's unique. And obviously we're in a unique situation in the world where we're all now, for the first time ever, embedded in a situation that's impacting all of us at the same time. So there are some vast commonalities, but there's a lot of differences. People are individuals, and how they're responding and what's happening to them can be very similar or be very different. So, so when you do it in a group, you know, depending on what's going on in the world and people's individual lives, some commonalities will pop up. And so it can be really helpful. This is helpful. This is why, you know, it's so generous for you to share this with others, because there'll be other people, hopefully like you're seeing with watching other people's work. People will relate to this, and it'll be close enough to what's going on with them, and it'll parallel process will happen, and where their nervous system will calibrate, and some of the concepts that you were bringing into consciousness, right? You were bringing through from the larger intelligence of us all. That will be helpful for them to see and hear and experience. Sometimes no, sometimes people are radically different, or they don't really understand what's going on. It's hard to watching somebody else's process if you're not really sure what's going on, right? It's so individual. So as I'm inviting you to feel things inside, sometimes people get what's going on, and sometimes they don't really get that there's a whole somatic thing happening on your end, right? Like, I might be saying this same kinds of things to people seemingly on the outside, but what's going on inside is amazing, right? And very individual to each person's nervous system. So usually people can get a sense of that as we go along. And especially when we get down to the sorts of breakthrough things you had here happen on the third column, right? Where we're working with polarities. So, you know, and one side's more strong and the other one's more unconscious. And then we're inviting it to get stronger, because in our world, we're kind of imbalanced, like I said, into the left side. And you're presenting that way right now. Not that you're not whole, you are, but right now, because of the circumstances, probably patterns and conditioning, your left brain's doing its thing. So we just created space for that other and invited it to, you know, the big love underneath that to grow bigger. So, and that's going to actually balance out those polarities. And then this is where you get into oneness consciousness, right? So we're not either or, it's yes and, it's together. And when those things come together, that really transcends. You bump up into a different place. You're not duking it out on these sides anymore, right? And trying to make one better or less than or whatever. It's like, no, you're never going to get rid of them. You bring them together by accepting them and loving them and making room for them and acknowledging their rightness in their own perspective. And when you do, that's, if there's a trick, and it's really not about a trick, but, you know, for us as individuals, human beings in the world at large, this is how we unite. We unite through, you know, the conscious and the unconscious, the feminine, the masculine, the good, the bad, you know, and come together instead of fighting forever. Yeah. And that transcends it. We come to a different state of consciousness when that comes together, which is what you're feeling as you came down here, right? Then now we're talking, right? Instead of coming from this kind of consciousness, when we individually and collectively can more and more come from this consciousness, we're going to shift worlds, right? This is where what your intelligence is showing as we bust through, you know, this seemingly the potential in it. We can still completely cream ourselves, of course, because we're at the mercy of the collective, of the majority here. But if enough of us do this, then this, you know, and your consciousness is so wonderful for me to be able to work with people, because time and time again, I'm seeing what your consciousness showed us, right? Your translation from the larger, this wonderful picture here, this metaphor, yay, right? That just, I'm able to see it over and over again, which keeps reassuring me. And why I keep doing this, right, is because it's pointing the way. And it's so helpful individually and collectively for us to know through each sage who shows up and does the work, right, to where we're headed, where you're headed, you know. So you're doing the work, so you're doing your piece of the puzzle here, which is going to help us get here.
Yeah, and like I said before, it's so generous of you to use your time in this way. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm learning so much. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
It's
Yes.
great.
And selfish too, because it helps me.
Yeah,
Makes my nervous
yeah,
system feel better, and
yeah.
gets the word out about this beautiful work. And, you know, and it just, it helps. Right. So, and, you know, the visual field has been growing in leaps and bounds, as it should, because it's so cool and it's so holistic, right? And now this is a niche within the niche that we can use these wonderful skills for doing this kind of deep inner work too, which is so needed. This is what we need to be doing right now to sort our stuff out as a species. So thank you for being so generous for doing it. Yeah.
Well, that's the yes and piece that you were talking about. It's both generous and selfish, and that's great. Like it can be both.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
It's whole. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well,
appreciate
it's been let me turn this, stop the share.
it. Okay.
Yeah. And it's been a delight to reconnect with you and help
Yeah, thank you.
come together and do some shifting inner work here. And I wish you all the best as it continues to unfold in you, and just keep inviting that big love. I can just feel it continuing to expand here. So you're doing your part for all of us. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to check out your home study kits. So that's wonderful.
Great. Cool. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. You won't
Thank you
see
very
the
much.
shift into digital yet, but in the next week or two, it's going to be up there. So
Okay.
it's coming soon. And I'll finish coloring this up and I'll send this to you. And then it'll eventually show up on the YouTube, probably in about 3 weeks or so, by the way
Okay.
things
And I
are
will print it
unfolding.
and put it on my wall. So that's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye for
All right.
now.
Thanks, Christina. Have a
Yeah.
great evening.
You too.